Alright guys, so we're out and about. I'm doing a little bit of tuning on this since I put the hood back on. The air fuel is a little bit messed up, probably because it's not sucking in cold air anymore. It's actually pulling in some heat from the engine bay, so I'm just going through and tweaking everything. I'm going to start my screen capture right now, and hopefully it works, because I just did a startup running airflow video and it deleted it, it lost it. So hopefully this works. Basically what I'm going to do now, I just came from my house and I was driving around a little bit and only did like 25 to 30 miles an hour. So what I have here is a air fuel ratio error percentage table. So basically what it's doing is it's calculating the difference from my commanded air fuel to the actual air fuel that the wideband is reading. So that's these two lines here, and this number on this error percentage table is a percentage of an error from commanded to actual air fuel ratio. So that's what I'm looking at right here. So as you can see, as I was just driving around, it was kind of lean a little bit, 17s. So I didn't really drive very far because I didn't really like this. And is up to temp. So that's all okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix this, like the 25 to 30 mile an hour driving. I'm going to fix this first. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight this whole table. And I'm probably just going to do like up to 1200. And 60 kPa. So basically I'll just copy this table and I'm going to go into the editor and I'll get that out of the way. So that was the running airflow table I just adjusted, but I'm going to go into airflow and then primary VE. So what I'm going to do now is take this same section, highlight it. So basically this AFR error percentage table right here that I created, this histogram, is the same as the primary VE table. So it's lean here, so I'm going to add a little bit of fuel. So what I'm going to do now is basically I'm going to paste in that section that I just copied out of that error percentage, and I'm going to go to paste special and multiply by percent. You could do multiply by percent half, but I'm going to do multiply by percent. So now that I did that, it made these changes into this table, and it was kind of a small change in this section. So that's all I'm going to do for now. So I'm going to go ahead and write this, but I'm going to end my video. I'm going to end the screen capture because if I'm doing screen capture and writing at the same time, it freaked out one of the times I did it, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to stop that and save that file. I really just don't want the computer to crash in the middle of writing, so that's what I'm going to do. So basically what I'm going to do now is the same thing, and I'll show you guys. I'm going to go through, I'll do like 25 to 30 kind of cruising speed, and then I'll find a spot and I'll do like 30 to 45, 35 to 45, basically all of the speed limit cruising speeds. That's what I've been doing, and kind of get that stuff dialed in. Just part throttle, very easy driving, smooth throttle changes, not anything jerky or fast, just so you can get a good accurate reading on that error percentage to paste back into the table. Can you see me, guys? Give me a thumbs up if you can see me. So while this is writing, funny story guys, this piece of paper that I used in the previous video to show that my heater was actually working, I thought it was a receipt, but it's actually my time slip from the first time I took this to the track after the swap. I don't know if you can see it, 92 miles an hour, 15.7 at 92. Oh yeah. That's a keeper. That's a keeper. So that's done rating now. We'll close the right box. Just gonna pull the key out. Usually cycle the key, leave it out for a little bit. And I'm gonna start the truck and I'll start driving. And as I'm driving, I'm going to start scanning because I don't want the scanner to pick up any of the startup or anything like that. So I want to be like driving, and then I'll start the scanner. Do it. Click it. So now I am at a gas station. I'm going to go through and write this file. You can see, like, as I was driving here around, 65, 70 cruising speed, the air fuel was actually pretty good. So if I were to click on like this spot right here, 66 miles an hour at this manifold pressure, 57 kPa, which is right here, 57 at a 1% error. So that spot's actually pretty good, but you can see in here we're at like 5 and 6% and near 10% lean. I'm not going to worry about these two blocks right here because this is kind of deceleration, no throttle, so these are going to be a little bit wacky. So now I'm going to basically we'll go from 400 to 800. These blocks here aren't really going to do anything, but I'll just copy it anyways. So 400 to 2000 from 50 to 80 kPa. So I'm going to copy those, and then we'll go back into the table, and we'll do a right click and multiply by percent again. So now that I did a little bit of a bigger section, I'm going to highlight over this kind of bigger box here, and then I'll do smooth selection. We'll do that a couple times, and then now it'll kind of smooth all these numbers together. So we'll try that. I'll go ahead and write this. I'll stop recording. Alright guys, so now that you've seen that a couple times, I'm going to go through off camera and just do that a few more times. Looking at this kind of like this is broad brush strokes right now. So I'm just kind of covering large sections of the table and making some changes. And then I'll eventually start doing the multiply by percent half if I feel like I need to. Usually the multiply by percent gets me pretty close, and then I'll start to go through and look at smaller sections of the table. I'll be able to look at specific manifold pressure and specific RPM ranges that I want to change. And I'll make changes to individual blocks and then smooth those sections out to try to make a smooth transition between the blocks on the table. So I'm going to go through and do that a couple times, and I'll come back after I'm kind of close to done and show you what it looks like. So remember, right now these are AFR error percentages anywhere between 8 and 10% on the table, and I want to go through until I can drive around comfortably and be like within 1 to 2%. So that's the goal. Alright guys, so in this point of the video, as I'm coming up to the stop sign, you can kind of hear the engine starting to chug a little bit, and watch the AFR. It's going to go from like a 14.7 and then it's going to drop down to a 14.1 right before the light turns green. It's going to do it twice. There was one, there was a second one. So it happened really fast, but it's happening. So basically what I started to notice as I was driving around was that it's developing a misfire. So as the engine warmed up, everything started to get warm. Started noticing a misfire developing, or what I thought to be a misfire. You can really see it on the gauge. And now you can really see it here, especially when I'm driving, how it kind of leans out and it goes to like 15.5. And now you can even tell it's really erratic between 15.7 and sometimes down to 15.1. It's just kind of all over the place. So a misfire is going to show up as a lean condition on an AFR gauge. So basically I'm almost in a full-time misfire right now, and what I saw at the light was when it was actually firing correctly for those short 1 second bursts, so that it was actually becoming more rich. So now I'm driving with a misfire basically here. So I'm gonna cut this clip and then we'll get to when I'm out on the highway and watch what starts happening when I'm out on the highway in just a cruising condition. Going on. So it's actually the next day now. So I don't know if you could probably tell from that last video, if you were watching the gauge, you could probably hear the truck, that the gauge was kind of bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down, and you could hear the truck revving. So basically, after I was driving the truck for a little bit, and I noticed this a little bit the other day, but not as much as last night when I was driving it. When the truck got warm, it was starting to misfire. So it was very light, so it was kind of hard to tell, but I could really see it on the gauge. And I'm thinking that's one of the reasons that it was lean when I put the hood on it. Maybe the first time it heated up, it trapped some more heat in there, and I actually found a bad plug wire. So you can see this whole wire, this was in the number 8 cylinder, so this thing is like completely split. The way I was seeing it was like it was continuously misfiring, but then it would run good intermittently. Like for a very short period of time, it would like be misfiring, and then maybe like a second or 2 seconds, it would actually run on all cylinders. And I could tell on the wideband, because it was reading lean, misfire shows up as a lean condition, so it would be running at like a 15.5 air fuel, and then for 2 seconds it would drop down to a 14.6, 14.7, and it would run really smooth for that 2 seconds, and then it would go back to running kind of rough, and then a higher air fuel. So that could be why the air fuel jumped up, and I noticed it after I put the hood on, because everything started to warm up, and then started to have that misfiring issue. But now I'm going to take it back out, see where we end up, and hopefully that's it.